Hollywood, the sum of its pieces, the palm trees, the trappings, the players.
I can't define why somebody likes to epitomize every producer as a jerk.
Hollywood is kind of the cultural Chernobyl of the world.
I think a lot of people in Hollywood actually feel guilty.
Tonight, a sneak preview of sorts. A look at the tarnish under the glitter through the eyes of its biggest players and the director who has landed a punch that has Hollywood reeling, Robert Altman.
This is ABC News Nightline. Substituting for Ted Koppel and reporting from New York, Forrest Sawyer.
Well, it's happened again. All glamour and spotlights. Hollywood's players and wannabes gathered tonight, handing out and receiving their coveted Academy Awards. Only this time, off stage, off mic, but not unnoticed, there was a lot of grumbling and whispers of worry. After all, Tinseltown has had to live through some hard times at the box office. Studios have been offering pink slips to its workers as consolation prizes. And all but the biggest stars and directors have had to swallow pay cuts. And not only is the money coming up short, critics are flailing away at Hollywood for turning out one predictable potboiler after another. And soon to be released, the final humiliation. A new film from one of Hollywood's renegade directors, Robert Altman, which makes fun of the whole posturing, self-absorbed process. So it seems appropriate that after all the self-congratulation tonight, a little good-natured ribbing is in order. From Robert Altman, who has an insider's view of what's wrong with Hollywood, and from our own Sam Spade, Jeff Greenfield, on the prowl in the belly of the beast.
They call it La La Land, Tinseltown, Glittersville, the Big Avocado, a psychedelic magic mountain roller coaster that can take you from Heaven's Gate to Hell's Half Acre faster than a 19-year-old starlet from Dubuque can say yes to a ride in the back of a Rose. I'd come here to tell a story. No, not a story, but the story. The story they don't tell you in the fairy tales pumped out by the TR boys in the back rooms of the back lots. It's a story of broken hearts and broken dreams that litter the Sunset Strip like so many used ketchup packets in a McDonald's parking lot on a busy Saturday night. It's a story of a cinema establishment blinded by greed, deafened by fear, emasculated by compromise. I'd come... Look, fella, I told you 100 times, don't play the damn saxophone in the newsroom, okay? I'd come to tell all this, but when I got to Hollywood, I was clobbered by a sucker punch that had me seeing more stars than a Swifty Lazar party. Hollywood had already told my story first. Maybe you think this is the way Hollywood sees itself. Well, guess again, sucker. These days, Hollywood paints its self-portrait in black, with a score that's strictly minor key.
Probably no surprise to you that you've been named as being a communist sympathizer.
It's a 1950s Hollywood in the grip of the Red Scare. It's a 1940s Hollywood that's a glimpse of ritual self-humiliation.
No Schwarzenegger, no packed Hollywood bandings, no car chases. This is an American tragedy.
And as seen in The Player, a new film that's hotter than a 57 Corvette parked in Death Valley, 1990s Hollywood is a feeding frenzy of self-important, ego-driven sheep. The film even has real live movers and shakers participating in this Hollywood satire that bites the hand that feeds it like Hannibal Lecter looking for a midnight snack. This, for example, is the real Buck Henry, who wrote the original Graduate, pitching a sequel.
The Graduate, Part 2. Oh, good.
I was determined to crack the mystery of Hollywood's view of itself, and I began at the very epicenter of power, the executive suites of the Sony Entertainment Corporation, where one of Tinseltown's most visible producers, Peter Guber, now runs this $5 billion enterprise.
It's like a Halloween party. You know, there comes a time you have to take off the costume. When Hollywood makes a movie about itself, it feels obligatory that they take off the costume, that they show the people that they really have clay feet.
It's a business, Guber told me, with all the security of a skyscraper built over an earthquake fault.
And that consequence, that roller coaster ride, that E-ride in Disneyland is what is compelling to us all and is also frightening. So when we have a chance to write about it, we write about it in a very dark, dour way, or when we do a film about it.
I left Guber's office with more questions than an IRS agent looking at Leona Helmsley's books. So I decided to do what no one with any power in Hollywood ever does. I decided to listen to a writer. Michael Token wrote the novel and the screenplay of The Player. He says it's a case of writer's revenge.
And every story about Hollywood is written by a writer. I mean, I know that's sort of tautological, but it's true. And every writer in Hollywood is upset and angry at the system, particularly anybody who's angry enough to decide to write a story about it. And why are writers upset about Hollywood? Because we're the worst treated on the totem pole.
Worst treated? When one screenplay can fetch $1 million, even $3 million bucks? Well, says Token, it's not about money.
So much is at stake for so many people that the level of competition drives everybody insane. And people get so anxious and greedy around a movie.
I had clues here, but I also had questions that couldn't be answered in the Hollywood climate of Jasmine and Jaguars. So I headed back east, to the chill of New York City, to the buildings that reach for the sky like concrete redwoods, and to a movie critic named Julie Solomon, whose eye was sharper than a Swiss Army knife. Her book, The Devil's Candy, was an up-close account of the making of Bonfire of the Vanities, a $50 million thermonuclear bomb.
People say, oh, the system is so terrible, until they start to make it good in the system. Most of the people who are unhappy about the system are only unhappy about it because they want to be part of it. So it's kind of a spoiled rich brats kind of brutalization. It's like now everybody's an abused child because their parents yelled at them once when they were 5.
I still had one more place to look, inside Variety, the show business Bible for the last 86 years. Its editor, Peter Bart, had spent 20 years as a Hollywood executive. Bart gave it to me straight.
People get paid more. People's egos are greater. There's more at stake. Careers are more visible. Disasters are much more public. Humiliations are much, more public as well. So Hollywood is a study in excess. Everything is bigger than life. Except the stars, when you meet them, always turn out to be littler than life.
So I was back where I started, with a trail as cold as an agent's heart. Tonight, Hollywood was putting on the Ritz, passing out the gold-plated statues on this night of 1,000 egos. And me, I was trying one more time to break the mystery of why Hollywood always showed itself to us on the screen through a cracked funhouse mirror.
I was just thinking what an interesting concept it is to eliminate the writers from the artistic process. If we can just get rid of these actors and directors, maybe we got something here.
Well, maybe there was no mystery after all. Maybe it was nothing but a never-ending tale of a town that spun its perfumed silken web, entrapping even the hardiest of souls, dyeing their hearts and minds with an ocean view and a table at Patina's. And I thank God that such temptations could never, ever reach a dedicated, honest, incorruptible journalist like me. I'm Jeff Greenfield for Nightline in L.A. Let's do lunch.
And if you want to cast Jeff, you'll have to contact his agent. In a moment, I'll be joined by a man who certainly could not be typecast as a Hollywood player, but he does know how to shake 'em up. He is Robert Altman, director of The Player.
This is ABC News Nightline, brought to you by Ford Motor Company.